And good morning. Looks like we are live at this month's edition of Ask Us Anything, where, as a reminder, it's a broker agnostic help with the entire real estate community for you guys to be able to ask questions. We always try to have a special guest on today. Today, I'm excited about our guest. It's one of our fellow RG agents, Artemisa Boston, who is also the #1 Latino agent in the country, top 5, but actually number 4 in the state for number of units sold in the last year. And if you look at, taking teams and institutional sellers out, #1 as a solo agent. So Artemisa is a great friend of ours, a huge addition to the real estate industry and RG as a whole. So we got her here today to talk with you guys, along with myself, to help answer questions and help whatever we can to give back to the real estate community to help you guys in your business. So with that being said, Artemisa, can you tell the crowd a little bit about you for those that don't know you? Who you are, your business model, everything that you might want to have people know about you that don't know.
Yes, hi everyone. So my name is Artemisa Boston, and I was born in Mexico City. I have been here in US 24 years. And what else, Mike?
Well, let's see. You got into real estate
21 years ago.
21 years ago. That's right.
Yes.
It was what, 2001-ish, if I remember right.
Yes.
Yep. And sort of the market was really on fire. It was growing.
Yes.
I always say this too. Sometimes it feels like a disservice when you're getting into the market when it's really good.
Yeah.
Because as soon as it goes the other way, it's like you got to relearn how to do things, right? So
Yes.
you went through that as I did.
Yes.
The crash, and what we saw happen in the last couple of years, the market was on fire, and we talked about this. Never saw a crash coming. It was just a major change, a shift in the market where it felt
Correct.
more like in the last couple of years like a drought.
Yes.
Low opportunity market for both buyers and sellers. Just the transactions were just drying up, right?
Mhm.
So you've got the experience that you've been working in the really hot markets. You've worked now through 1 or 2 really kind of off markets and shifted markets. So I think that's a great advantage. But let's talk a little bit about your structure. Let's talk a little bit about how you structure. And when I say #1 agent and true solo agent in Minnesota, when I say solo agent, it doesn't mean that you work alone.
Yes.
You've got a very interesting model because you've got so many people that work that are basically on your payroll that you've leveraged and outsourced and even insourced to so much of your business that you spend a lot of your time really just back to back with high intent buyers and sellers. That's where you spend your time. You're involved in every single one of your deals.
Yes.
You're closing anywhere from 250 to 300 deals a year under that model. So I'd love for people to be able to hear about how you kind of came up with that model, how you structured it,
Yes.
how it progressed and grew. Like, take us through it.
Okay, so I wanna so this start because I wanna keep serving my clients, but I wanna be the main face.
Mhm.
Okay, I didn't feel comfortable trying to give a lead to someone because the client was coming because they wanna work with me.
Mhm.
So the thing that I did is I was afraid in the beginning because I didn't know about this kind of stuff before, to try to bring showing agents,
Mhm.
because I was thinking that the clients are not going to like me if I don't show the house.
Let's stop there for a second. Let's talk about what made you, because showing agent was one of the first things you brought in.
Yes.
But what made you think I need to bring in somebody for showing it? Like, what prompted that?
I was working too many hours.
Mhm.
Okay, and I want my clients to have the ability to look at the house as soon as possible because it's part of the competition.
Right.
So I was thinking, okay, I'm going to bring showing agents to see how that works.
And this is before showing agents were popular.
No, I think I never hear it.
Right.
I think I was afraid, Mike.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know if it's going to work.
Yep.
But the thing is, I figured it out that if you explain the correctly to your clients what are you trying to do,
Mhm.
they are going to take this in a good way because you are going to say, okay, I'm going to bring a showing agent. They are going to show you the houses, but you can call me with questions.
Yep.
This is because I want to give you the best service. It's because I don't want that you wait for me.
Right.
And you explain. So the expectations that you provide to the clients, if you explain that correctly, that works.
So you set the expectation. Now, again, we just kind of talked about the fact that you were very much an early pioneer with showing agents, right?
Yes.
And the fear you had, if I understand you correctly, is how are my clients going to take this? I'm going to try this revolutionary thing that nobody's doing.
Yes.
And I'm going to tell my clients that it's okay. It's different, but don't worry, it's going to be fine.
Yes.
And you obviously were worried about a negative backlash, right?
Yes.
But how did it turn out?
No, everything was okay. The thing is, if you explain correctly the way that you are going to work with the clients, the expectations that they are going to have
Mhm.
is whatever you like tell them.
Yep.
Okay? So, and it worked perfectly. So I bring one agent, one showing agent, and another one, and another one. So I have more time to do other stuff. It's a little bit complex. It's
Right.
not perfect. Okay.
Right.
But at the same time, I think it's like a good thing for new agents because it's a way that they can make money when
Mhm.
they are like, they don't have clients.
And they're
They
learning.
practice.
They're learning,
Yes, they
yeah.
practice and they help me and we help each other.
So, let's think about the mindset that you had. You were trying things that were new. You were trying to solve a problem. Obviously, you figured out that you can't be in all places at one time. You needed help in your business.
Mhm.
And one thing that I would say, Artemisa, to me from the outside eye, and we've had many conversations about this, so I know this to be true, but you actually run your business like a business.
Yes.
Meaning that you're not trying to take it all on yourself. There's so many people in real estate that they're control freaks. They can't let go.
Yes.
Nobody can do it better than me. I have to do all my own paperwork. I have to do all my own showings. I have to show up at every inspection, stay there the entire time. They commit themselves in their mind that it has to be this way. I've seen agents that are so worried about response rate, for example. If the phone rings at 10:30 at night, they're going to pick that phone up because they feel like if I don't do that, I could lose a client.
Mhm.
But setting expectations, you and many other big top producers have figured out that you have to set your own expectations with the client.
Correct.
And as long as you're setting the expectation, you're following through,
Mhm.
the client 9 times out of 10 is going to be just fine with it because you told them what to expect.
Yeah.
You're following through and they're being successful in the journey.
And it's going to have better service because
Mhm.
you cannot do everything.
You can't.
And by the way, other people is better than
Yeah.
doing other like stuff. So you need to give opportunity to people to help you, and that is the best for your clients. If you are tired, if you're trying to do everything at the end, you are not going to be completely
No,
successful when
you're
you
not.
have a lot of clients.
You think that you're doing the right thing by handling it all because
Yes.
you're going to commit yourself to your client, but you're not giving the best experience because you're worn out, you're stretched too thin, there's no specialization.
Yes.
One thing I think that real estate agents get themselves into is they try to specialize in everything, which means they specialize in nothing. It's great to have some roles, that are determined, that are kind of built out in your team.
Yeah.
Transaction coordinator, for example, that's a specialty.
Yes.
Sometimes showing agents, it actually becomes a specialty, right? They get really
Yes.
good at it. It's the one thing they do over and over again. And by the way, ladies and gentlemen, I want to encourage you, this is your time to be able to ask questions. We've got Artemisa here for the hour only. She's done such amazing things. This is an awesome time for you guys to ask her questions, and we're going to get some answers for you. But while we do that, let's ask Artemisa the next question. After showing agent, you still must have found some relief that, hey, I've got some relief, I've got help. I'm not showing every house, but you obviously grew beyond showing agent.
Mhm.
So I'm guessing, correct me if I'm wrong, but by putting the showing agents into play, you're actually doing more business,
Yes.
which led to, well, now I got to solve another problem. I need more help.
And no, and the other thing is, remember, when you are the owner of the business,
Mhm.
you need to show the houses, you are tired, you are seeing the attitude of the clients that sometimes they are like good, sometimes they are not good.
Mhm.
But if you are a showing agent, your job is you need to be happy and show the house.
Yep.
You don't have feelings with the transaction.
Nope.
You finish the showing, you go to your house.
Right.
And that helps me too, because I am not seeing the client being disappointed in this
Mhm.
market, complaining that they cannot get a house. So I don't
Right.
see that part. So when
Right.
the client call me, I am not tired. I don't see those like attitudes. So I am the best version of myself.
And what I love about what you said, I always say this too, that I don't want my surgeon to be emotional, right? I want my surgeon to be professional. I want my surgeon to be focused, and I want my surgeon to care about the outcome.
Mhm.
But I don't want my surgeon emotional. I don't want my
Yes.
surgeon, being distracted by emotion. Emotion can really kill us in this business.
Yeah.
What you talked about is kind of separating where a showing agent, they're not concerned like you are as the agent about the outcome of that transaction. They're concerned about how well can I handle the showing.
Yes.
The home inspection down the line, the closing down the line, that's not their concern. They're focused primarily on that one particular experience, and all the other stuff doesn't cloud their performance, which is actually a great point.
Yes, I think is I feel that that is like a good thing too. In this market can be like a little frustrated that
Mhm.
if you see that your client is being so frustrated about the entire thing, that can like affect the way that you feel. But if you don't see it, you don't feel it.
Right, and
Okay.
it allows you to specialize again, specialize and focus and put your time and energy in the highest and best use of your time.
Yes.
We've got questions coming in, so we better I can talk and talk and talk and forget
Yeah.
the questions. So, all right, Artemisa, do you hire and pay showing agents per showing? Are they staff? So basically, what you're being asked is, do you have them on a permanent payroll, or is it per showing, per door? How do you structure that?
Okay, so we manage Trello. Everyone knows about Trello.
Yep.
So the agents, they can put the schedule, the days that they want to work. Some agents, they want to work a few days per week or during the weekends or in the mornings, in the afternoons. They can choose the day and the time that they want to work.
Mhm.
So we pay per hour. So we pay since the time that they leave the house until they come back to the house.
Gotcha.
And it's not a payroll, no? You can work 10 hours or 40 hours.
And you've got the volume that they
Yeah.
can work 40 hours if they want to,
Absolutely,
right?
Yeah.
So, you're paying hourly. Are you doing any gas reimbursement or any of that kind of stuff, or is it just strictly?
Choose
Gotcha.
I pay per hour and they are self-employees, so they can like track their miles and the gas and whatever. So
Gotcha. Beyond showing agent, let's talk about the next thing. I mean, I know you've hired drivers, you've hired, of course, transaction
yeah.
coordinators, probably listing coordinators, a lot of different roles. What was your next role after showing agent? And how many showing agents did you hire before you said, okay, I need another role too?
Yes. So I have like 10 showing agents.
Yes. Yep.
Okay. So
Yep.
because they don't work the entire
That's like a department in itself, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's a department in itself.
But the thing is, like, after that, I need someone to manage the agents
Mhm.
because I was like also like having trouble trying to, and also the feelings.
Right.
Okay. So are you going to cancel again?
Right.
I mean, so
Right.
I don't want to have those feelings. So
Right.
I brought someone to coordinate all the showings
Mhm.
and contact all the agents and confirm the showing with the clients.
So basically you have a showings department when you really think of it,
Yes.
right?
Okay.
And you have sort of a director or manager of that department
Correct.
that's running that whole side of it.
Mhm.
Good.
Yes.
And how many showing agents did you bring on before you brought that management piece in?
Oh, I already have like 10.
Yeah, but how many did you have before you brought the person in?
The
So you had 10, then you brought them in?
Yes, but that was making me crazy.
Right,
Because I have to deal with 10 people.
Right.
I cannot do it.
Yeah.
You told me that you are going to do that, but now I cannot do that. So it was like, no.
Yeah, you found out that you're coordinating people, you're like air
Yeah.
traffic control, and then you couldn't focus on your business and the deals
Exactly.
and the
So the
client.
thing that I did is how can I do this without using another phone?
Right.
Because otherwise it's going to be confusing.
Yeah,
So I like purchased another phone and we put the same iCloud. So whatever I was receiving,
right.
the other person was receiving. So
Mhm.
his job was checking all the messages from people that want to look at houses.
Yeah,
And at the same time, I have control. So I see if someone is complaining because it has not been answered.
yeah.
So you don't lose completely the control. Obviously, you lose the you cannot like have conversations that
Right.
because the other person is going to be seeing everything.
Right.
But I am not like the kind of person that is hiding something.
Right.
I just work and I am baseball mom. So
But it's very transparent, right?
exactly.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, so you've got that whole showing department kind of running. And if I remember right, you're pretty buyer heavy in your business, right? You work with a lot of buyers, right?
Yes.
So which obviously buyers are more labor intensive than average listing. I think you're working anywhere from 30 to 40 hours per buyer in this market, and you're working probably 4 hours per seller. And so you've got more of a complexity when you're working with buyers. You work with a lot of buyers, and therefore the way you've departmentalized your buyers is how you kind of met that challenge. But let's talk about after showing agents. What's the next role? What did you do after that?
Okay, so after that, I think was like I don't remember if it was before or after that I was needing that someone like write the offers
Yes.
and
Okay.
and prepare the listings.
Yep.
All of that's this is your baby.
Yeah.
Okay. And you are like a little like control freak. Okay,
Yep.
to start.
Yep.
So, but you need to let go.
Mhm.
Otherwise, you are never going to be able to do everything.
And I have a personal story with this where I was running about as a solo agent
Mhm.
that was not leveraged. I had one transaction coordinator and I was running anywhere from 70 to 80 transactions a year,
Mhm.
working 16-hour days. And I was so convinced that nobody could do it as good as I could. And therefore I wasn't going to let go of anything.
Mhm.
I capped my own business. I put a ceiling in my business because as a single person, you can only do so much.
Yeah.
Had I leveraged out, the way I should have, I could have done 2 or 3 or 4 times the business. I
Correct.
could have made more money, had more work-life balance,
Mhm.
and done more of what I enjoy. What dawned on me, and I can't believe it took so many years to figure this out. Here's me doing 80 transactions a year, thinking that nobody could do it better.
Mhm.
When a good transaction coordinator, right, they're involved in sometimes 300 or 400 transactions a year.
Yes.
So who's really more qualified, me or them who's doing it more, right?
Correct.
And again, we think about specialties and roles. We think about, if you have a transaction coordinator that's focused only on this piece,
Mhm.
and that's all, and they become really good at it. They become a specialist, an expert in it.
Yes.
Where, we in the, we're kind of like the jack of all trades. We're the semi-expert of everything, but we got true specialists that are just pros at it. They've got the better systems, they're faster, they're more accurate, and there's such a huge value to our business. If we can step back, let go of the control and hand it over.
And the other thing is obviously this was not automatic.
Right,
Okay, because I make the mistake.
right,
You know that working 15, 16 hours every day is no good idea because you are going to have all kinds of issues.
yep.
Okay. And the other thing is you need to figure it out that we are going to live only once.
Mhm.
Okay. And you will start like putting what is important in your life.
Mhm.
Okay. But you make those mistakes. Nobody tells you, hey, if you are working 15, 16 hours every day, your life is not going to be good. So you need to have those experience, really bad experience to try to figure it out, what to change.
Let's talk a little bit about, because you run such a great, interesting business structure. And I'm sure, because I know that, you've hired people that drive for you, right?
Mhm.
And if I remember right, you did that because you found yourself needing to be on the phone so much, texting and whatnot. You can't drive and legally do that. So you hired somebody to do your driving, but eventually you've hired people to pretty much take over your phone in a lot of ways too, right?
Yes.
So you've kind of built out these departments and sub-departments as the need grows.
Mhm.
Talk to me about how you sustain that business, because obviously you're hiring a lot of people out. That's going to cost you money.
Mhm.
How do you sustain that? Where do you come up with so much opportunity
Yeah.
that you're able to do that?
Okay, so I was having enough clients to
Mhm.
pay the salary for the driver versus assistant,
Yeah.
driver assistant. And in those times, Mike, you were writing the purchase agreements at the same time. So I was oh, I need to have time to do that because I was coming back to the house and I need to work another 4 or 5 hours.
Mhm.
So I said, I need someone to drive so I can eat. I can put my makeup.
Right.
I can write the purchase agreements. I can talk in the phone. Okay. And so that creates necessities, but it's because I was having more and more clients. It's the same with the phone. No?
Yeah.
At some point, my phone was ringing so much that you are the first 40 phone calls. You are hi, how are you today?
By the end of it,
And
you're just
by the end of the day, it's just take the phone, please.
Right. Yeah.
Because I don't want to answer in a bad way. So when you need someone, I just transfer the phone and the other person is, hi, how are
Right.
you?
They're fresh.
Yeah, they are fresh.
They're
So
fresh.
it's the necessity, and that, but it's created because I was having the volume of clients to be paying everyone.
So what's if you had to kind of summarize every role right now within your business, what are your roles? What are the roles that you've farmed out?
Okay, I have 10 showing agents or so, and 6 assistants.
Gotcha.
Okay, and we do the magic.
Gotcha. Yep.
I don't know sometimes how we do it.
Right.
Okay, but we try the best that we can. We make mistakes, it's normal.
Everybody does.
But we try to do the best that we can.
So, again, your business and all the business you're doing, at this point, obviously, everybody knows who you are. I'm assuming that you're getting repeat business, referral business. You've got a strong brand within your community of people you worked with. And, and I know you've got sort of a geographic farm you work in too, but what I mean by community you worked with, I mean, your past clients and your whole sphere of influence. Like you've got a strong brand recognition there.
Mhm.
Talk to me a little bit about that. Like how do you get the repeat and referral business? How are you retaining so much of it? How are you growing your book of business right now?
Is I paying attention to my database. I try to be always present, okay?
Mhm.
And you don't have to use only the new ways. You need to use the old ways to
Mhm.
the mailing, because sometimes that you are the only birthday card that a client is going to receive.
Right.
Okay, so when they receive the Mother's Day card, for some people, it's those old ways, they think that it's obsolete, but that they are so happy and they remember you and they send you clients.
Sure.
Okay. I do this also because I like to do it. Okay. And the other thing is, you think that when you close a deal, you are done with the client? No. You need to always be able to help your client. They are going to need help with other things, and being in a community that we are minorities, people, they have a lot of questions, and sometimes they don't have a person to answer the questions.
So you become beyond a real estate agent, but a source of information.
That too.
You become sort of, I always think about it as a wheel, how each wheel has spokes, right? And a lot of real estate agents end up being a spoke in that person's wheel. When there's a real estate need, I talk to that person. That's as far as it goes. But what you're talking about is putting yourself more as the hub, the connector that the spokes connect into.
Correct.
That, whether it's I need a referral for a great mechanic in the area, or I need, a CPA, or I just need advice, I'm going to call Artemisa. You become that influencer within your own database. So if you watch my reaction, you said I pay attention to my database. This just kills me, because real estate agents, by and large, are so terrible. They've worked with somebody, they've got a great experience. They butter that person up. The person loves them. They're close. They're like friends by the end of the transaction.
Yes.
Then the agent disappears, and it's like over and over we see that. It's around 80% of every client states at the end of a transaction they would use the same agent again, and only 12% do. So whose fault is that? It's our fault as an industry.
Yes.
And the other piece of that is, about half the people don't even remember the name of their agent 2 years after or 1 year after the transaction, right?
Yes.
So when you're talking about and paying attention to your database, you've worked with them, and you look at companies, Home Depot, or you name the company, but a huge percentage of their budget is based on repeat customer retention. It's not new customer acquisition. It's people that already worked with them, that knows them. And you're focusing on making sure that even though the transaction is done, the relationship is not. The need for communication is not. And we built out some pretty cool, I guess you call them action plans on past client. And I think we did 7 actual phone call touches, not mailings and emails and campaigns like that, not advertising, but actual phone calls within that first year. Call it on day 2, where day 2, the client would get a phone call, how'd the move-in go? Day 7 would be, now that you've been in the house, is the house making sense? Do you have any questions for the seller? Day 30 is it feeling like home? And then there's day 90, 180, 270, 365. And what we noticed, there's a 30% higher referral rate out of the agents following that action plan.
Yes.
Because they're in front of their clients still, right? But we tend to think in the industry that once the transaction's over, I got to move on to the next.
No.
Big mistake.
No, this is something that you need to keep doing. I cannot, for example, follow those steps because of the volume that I have, but I can always be available for the questions of my clients, and I can be always there, and I am preparing always in the winter. I'm going to receive a few phone calls that the furnace is not working.
Right.
And the summer, I'm going to receive a few phone calls that the air conditioner is not working.
But I'm guessing that, based on how you run your business, a lot of agents don't want those phone calls. I'm guessing you invite them.
Yes.
Because it's a chance to have a conversation again with your client, to be top of mind. They're thinking of you and you're helping them again. And that leads to more repeat business and referral.
Yes, and the other thing is, when you are slow, instead of not doing not too much,
right,
you need to do other things. So I always tell my assistants, when you don't have a lot of things to do, call one of our clients and ask if they need something.
Right.
Okay, so hey, are you okay? and listen, okay? Because sometimes my phone calls, they need to be fast.
Right.
I want that my assistant that is fresh and
Mhm.
young and, ask the client, and if the client wants to tell you something about their lives, listen and laugh and do.
Connect.
That is
You're
the
talking about
connection.
connection,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
And I think we forget about that. And this is where I think we have a black eye for an industry. Because it almost seems like we're disingenuous or fake because we act like we're connecting before we make the money, right? We're connecting and we're part of the family practically until the closing happens and then we're gone. So having that connection after the transaction to me is huge. And we talk about things like you mentioned database and terms like sphere of influence. And I'm a big believer in this, that your sphere of influence is not all created equally. Your friends and family, for example, might be a different communication and action plan than call it your professional network or your past clients. There might be different action plans and contact cadence, how often you talk to them, the things you say might be different based on who they are, if you've worked with them before, excuse me. Are they planning on making a move again? Have they sent you referrals before? Some of this stuff kind of dictates how much time and energy you're going to focus on one particular person. Some people push back. They don't want to talk to you more than once or twice a year, or if they do, it's just about the market and their house and what their home value is.
Yeah.
So you have to kind of keep your notes on your database and realize who you're dealing with.
Yes.
Like your professional network, for example. Let's say you've got CPAs and attorneys and people. That's a different communication, a different way you work together than your friends and family, right?
Correct.
Even though it's still technically your SOI, your sphere of influence, it's a different action plan. I have a sneaking suspicion that you probably recognize that, and that when you're communicating with people, it's with a purpose, it's intentional, it's kind of like, again, you're going to recognize if it's somebody's a past client that's going to refer business, or if it's somebody in your professional network that you trade business back and forth. You're not treating them all the same. You're recognizing the difference, and you have a different plan.
Yes.
Yes.
But one thing is like, when you call someone just expecting that they are going to send you business.
Yep.
Probably that is a way to go.
Mhm.
But like, the reality is I'm never expecting that.
Right.
I'm just like trying to have fun and trying to like treat people with like consideration and whatever. And obviously that creates that sincere thing.
Yep.
When you're authentic, that creates, because when you are faking, people can
They feel
notice
it.
that.
They feel it
Yeah.
every time. The truth of it is if it's relationship first and the business is a byproduct of the relationship, what that means is then you actually care about building the relationship. It isn't like I've got to build a relationship to get to the business. The relationship is the primary objective, and because of that, the business will happen.
Correct.
When you flip it, it's like all you care about is the business, and you're building a fake relationship to get it. They feel it.
Yes.
And I think a lot of agents struggle with that, and that's exactly what they do. Is you can see them coming from a mile away. It's commission breath. You can smell it. They're only following up with you because they want your money or they want repeat or referral business. If it's a true attempt to connect, because there's that word again, if it's a true attempt to connect, that person feels it, the agent feels it, and when it's honest and genuine, that person's going to be that you're building that relationship with is going to be so much more inclined to help you. Legitimately, that's what it is. They're help you.
And talking about the connection,
Yep.
okay, or the way that your relationship, you need to also like be an agent with the other agents that it's easy to work with. When you are like difficult to work with, maybe sometimes you are the best offer, but nobody wants to deal with you.
Right.
You need to like have the reputation that you are going to like, if they deal with you, the done is going to be like the work is not going to be done.
You think the words are out of my mouth because I see it so much that agents are so often more interested in being right, and proving a point and being principled, and they'll fight and argue.
Doesn't make sense.
And it doesn't always make sense, right? I mean, and maybe at some points, maybe there is a specific time that fighting and arguing might make sense, but most of the time it doesn't.
By the way, you are not helping your client.
No, you're not.
They hire you because you don't have to have emotions.
Correct. Again, your surgeon, right? I don't want my surgeon to be I want them to be good. I want them to cure my problem, but I don't want them coming to the table with those emotions.
That is correct.
And we see agents do it all the time. And they do end up becoming adversarial and combative. And now they set themselves up in the future for future problems with that agent again. We're going to run across each other more than
And
once.
I have done those mistakes.
Mhm.
Don't, I have to learn.
Right.
But the reality is you need to have a good reputation. You can know, like, don't answer emails and be moody when you answer phone calls to other agents. You need to have not only a good reputation with clients, with everyone, because at some point you are going to need everyone. And the reality is everyone deserves respect. They are trying to do the same that you are doing. So
And I think you really kind of, hit it on the head when you're talking about, it's a small community of agents. If you're principled to the point that it's more about being right than getting something done for your client, and it becomes combative. And I've seen the emails that are like 6 pages long of back and forth fighting and arguing and finger pointing, like, oh, you're not helping anybody. But you've got to, and I've dealt with you on these things before, you've got to poise about how you handle conflict. We all have conflict in our business, right?
yes.
But there's a way that you handle conflict and conflict management that at the end of the day, everybody feels good about the resolutions, right? It's a win-win.
Exactly. Or for example, the other thing is sometimes you see a listing in MLS and it says, they don't accept FHA.
Right.
So you call the agent and you say like, I'm going to send you an offer. It's FHA, or why you are not accepting FHA?
Yeah.
It's because there are some peeling pain.
Correct.
And I say, we can put it together.
Right.
I mean, we can, you and me, and I make it like fun. You
Right.
and me, we can paint.
Right. We can deal with it.
Yeah. Sometimes it's $200, $300.
Right.
But you need to create opportunities.
Yep. But you're also picking the phone up and having the conversation, where I think a lot of people, and I've seen you do this, you're on the phone a lot. You're talking to people a lot.
Yes.
And so many people are curious about Artemisa. How does Artemisa run her business? One thing I've seen with you is you're not just firing off a impersonal email, you're on the phone working through things, conversation, which is a much higher yield of influence and better results than some email that is misread, misunderstood, impersonal. I think that's an important point. And what you talked about was a minute ago was picking the phone up and working through an obstacle. Somebody might have a great house and your client might love it, but they're saying, hey, we're not going to work with your financing. MFHA, for example, FHA, for example. We've seen with VA, how many sellers have said, or listing agents have said, I don't want VA offers, because they don't know that a VA offer is a good offer. Like they don't understand it. So, being able to not from a combative standpoint, not from a I'm going to fight you and yell at you standpoint, but from a let's work together standpoint, there's a big difference in that, because a lot of what agents will do is they get on the phone and they start being combative and they start being domineering and they start, finger pointing, and they create more of a problem than a solution.
And you have to work sometimes a little bit more, because if we have, like, for example, a vet that is not working, is not in good conditions. So you say, you know what? So what about if I offer you $1,000?
Right.
And if we have a problem, we can figure it out, the problem. But you need to work a little bit more, because you need to, like, find someone to do that. But that is why we are here, to do all of that.
But you're a problem solver, and I think that's one thing that that agents should really hear, that our business isn't professional door opener. In a lot of ways, it's professional problem solver. That every transaction has got obstacles to work through.
Yes.
How you work through those obstacles, how you work with people, how you find solutions. You're either going to be, there's a solution for every problem or a problem for every solution. And we have a lot of problem for every solution people, right? When I've worked with you long enough to know that, you're very problems, your mindset is to solve problems, and anything's possible if you're looking in the right spot for it, right? And you're always looking for those solutions. We do have a question that came through. All right, from Taylor, where do you suggest finding good help for transaction coordinators and database management? That's a great question. So I'll let you take that first and I'll chime in too.
Okay, so there are a lot of companies that they are, like, providing that kind of service. You can like see the reviews and talk to people, and you need to find, it's like your closer. You need to find someone that you have a good relationship, that you feel that you and the other person is you guys are going to be a good team. Otherwise, you can, like, it's like more work, but you can hire someone and teach the person. It's going to take more time, but maybe it's better for you, because this person is going to accommodate the way that you wanna, like, do your your business.
So, and again, broker agnostic, we don't want to sit here and talk about everything we do at Realty Group, but we do have a landing page built with all of our in-house transaction coordinators too. So, if you're looking at, hey, I got to try a few people out, we got that built out too, and agent services can help you with that.
And that can make sense.
Yeah.
Because if you have like one transaction per month or two transactions, you don't want to hire like someone because that can be super stressful.
I mean, even if you're doing 3 or 4 times to pay for them full time is difficult. You want to pay per transaction,
Exactly.
meaning they're probably going to work for more than one agent because they're not going to, survive income wise on 3 or 4 transactions.
Exactly.
They're going to be working for multiple agents. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So I think we're about at time. We don't have any more questions left, I don't think. So, all right, we got about 10 more minutes. Good to know. Yeah, I was off on my time today. I thought we were later than that. So Artemisa, if we could, I want to kind of, as we're wrapping this up here, I really want to dig more into your business structure of, you got those 6 assistants. What are sort of the tasks that those assistants do? Like what do they do for you that you no longer have to do for yourself?
Okay, sometimes I hire an assistant to do a specific thing, but I found that this assistant has other talents.
Yeah.
So I accommodate the assistant to the
Based on
talent.
their strengths.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So they are going to be happy and I'm going to be happy.
Yeah.
For example, Tatiana is in Western Palm. She helps with the phone.
Yeah.
But also like sometimes when the other one is busy, she's driving for me and she does like some social media.
Sure.
But also like she is like perfect to do makeup. So when I am going to like go to Paris or whatever, she's the one who do the professional makeups and the hairs and whatever.
Nice.
So
but you really are then playing to their strengths. It's
exactly.
not, and I think this is a thing too that we think about building out roles for people and that role might be transaction coordinator. We might have an entire workflow built out for that TC.
Yeah.
But maybe there's other strengths that person has. And so there is obviously there's a need to have, some structure behind what somebody's role is. But I think there is a strong argument you can make that when you really kind of play to people's strengths and see, hey, maybe the role is going to shift for this person a little bit, or they're going to float, we're going to cross train, and maybe they're going to work in more than one department.
Yes.
So you can be a little creative, with how you really leverage your staff to get the best, experience from them.
Yes.
All right, I think we got another question coming in here.
Yeah.
Let's see. What advice do you have for new agents trying to build their business? So that is going to be a loaded question because I don't think it's a singular answer.
But I am really simple.
Yeah.
Okay. That is the kind of mindset. I don't have time to do something complicated or learn something complicated. So I have a database, it's called HighRise. It's the basic database that like gives you send you alarms or tasks when you need to call a client, and you can like put information about every single client so you know what you are talking about when you call the client. And I have Trello. I use those to like follow up the offers that we make and also for the schedules and other stuff.
And Trello is really a great project manager. That's really, for those that don't know what Trello is, it's a digital online project manager. It's great. I've been using Trello for years.
Yes, and use my normal calendar, the Google Calendar. I don't have anything else. I need to be simple because I don't have time to do something different.
And I want to add this too, when you're talking about for a brand new agent, keep in mind, new agents, one of the first problems they need to solve is building consistent income, right? And let's face it, when you're in 10 years and you've got a self-sustaining book of business and repeat referral business, is different. When you're brand new, you don't have the credibility, you don't have the history, no proof of concept, no social proof. You're basically on this roller coaster. You get a client and you focus on that client, and it's all you're focused on. You close that client, you're right back to unemployed, and it starts all over. You're doing this, right? So for me, the best advice I can give you of really what you want to focus on as a new agent is 2 things. And it's probably the most fundamental things. These are boring things, but they're about the most important. Focus in building your database and following those action plans. And second, working on building yourself a schedule. Because when you're not working off a schedule and you're reactive, like you get up in the morning and you're like, what do I need to work on today? To me, you're already behind the 8 ball. You've got to have structured time for prospecting and building out your business. You've got to have follow-up time structured. For me, even as a new agent, I'm going to try to control when I show houses. Instead of asking somebody, when would you like to go see XYZ Main Street? I'm going to ask them, hey, I've got 3 o'clock open and 5 o'clock, which time works for you? I need to control my schedule
Yes.
because there's only a few things that you do in real estate that really move the needle, that make money. And as a new agent, you got to focus on those few things.
Yeah.
Lead generation, lead follow-up, lead conversion, closing. Like that's where you focus your time and energy.
Yeah.
And when you don't have the history of it, you don't have the proof of concept built up and all that experience in self-sustaining book of business, prospecting for new business is going to be your primary thing. That's the best use of your
But
time.
it needs to be in your schedule.
It has to be in there. You're not going to do it if you don't.
The problem is you are self-employed.
Mhm.
And if you don't put yourself, nobody's going to tell you
Correct.
anything. And you can spend so easy, like 3-4 hours watching TV.
And yep, scrolling through social media, being distracted by the dog barking. It's like, you got to get rid of all distraction, focus on that schedule. And when you build that schedule out, and for me, the important thing is to understand this. You can't look at motivation as a factor. You can't just prospect when you feel like it. It has to be a non-negotiable in your schedule and you're doing it. Once it becomes a habit, like, and remember, habits are compulsive.
Yeah.
When things get stressful or hard, you fall back on habit. I'd rather have good habits. When things get stressful, I'm out of money, I'm out of clients. I want to fall back on the good habits. Prospecting, being in my schedule, making the phone calls, doing the mailings, doing the social media posts, the things that move the needle in your business. That's where they need to focus.
Eventually they are going to work. But if you do it like you.
Inconsistent, it doesn't work.
It's not going to
It
work.
has to be
It
consistent.
needs to be consistent.
And that's the best thing I can tell any new agent is that consistency is going to be the difference between success and failure in business.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So we've got another question. Where's the majority of your business come from?
Referrals.
Boom, right there.
Yes.
You know, if you look at the NAR stats, and I do believe these, it's about 60% of your business is going to come from relationships, 12 to 14% is going to come from repeat business, and 44 to 46% is coming from referral, right? So between those two pieces, repeat and referral, that's 60% of every transaction in America.
Yeah.
And it's also easier business because they already know you, like you, trust you. You know, don't get me wrong. I've closed a heck of a lot of online leads, signed calls, you name it. I've done expireds, physicals. I've done everything. It's so much easier when you start on the right foot. They know you, like you, and trust you, or the person that referred you, they like and trust them. So they automatically give you some leeway. They automatically start with you and you're in a good position with them. Easiest business you can do.
Yes.
You know.
And the other thing, Mike, is like also sometimes when you meet with someone that is not ready. So some agents, they say like, oh, yeah.
Terrible mistake.
No. I put it in the database. I say, okay, you and me, we are going to make a plan. Okay. So you are going to the bank to get a card. In a week, you get the credit card.
Right.
Okay. No. Okay. Do you want me to go with you? Right. It's like you need to like follow.
But do you see the opportunity? Because let's face it, in the last numbers I saw must have been 6-7 years ago, that the lifetime value of a good person in your database is about $108,000. That was about 6 or 7 years ago, meaning that you're going to get repeat and referral business, right? Think of the opportunity when they're in that nurture phase, because now you get to know them, not over 3 weeks and they're closed and done, but you get to know them over 6 months, a year.
And guess what? Sometimes you lose it.
You do.
Because you prepare the client and they go with another agent.
That's okay though.
But if you retain 50%, it's 50% that you didn't have.
Correct. And if you don't focus on it, retain none. Right. So if you're focusing only on transactional buyers, somebody ready to transact today, we call it low hanging fruit. They're ready right now. And that's all you're focused on. You're missing 80 to 90% of the actual available business. And like I said, the opportunity that's there, because now I get to work with this person for a year, get to know them, and the referrals. And this is something I'm very passionate about. You can get referrals from somebody you've never sold a house to. Correct. If they like how you work and what you're doing for them, they're going to refer you. You don't have to close them first. We forget about that. This idea that we have to find business for tomorrow and only tomorrow, we limit ourselves. Can't do that. All right. So let's see here. We're about at time. I think this time we are about at time. Let's see if there's any, I don't think there's any last questions. Any last advice for anybody, Artemisa?
Just like try to do your best every day. And I don't know, like everyone has like a different way to do business. Try to accommodate the way, try to do the way that you are happy with. And to be successful is having a balance. So but that is the only thing.
And there's a lot of really good things you just said right there, because here's the reality. There's 7 or 8 main ways people source business, right? You've got SOI agents, sphere of influence agents. You got, FISBOs expireds. You got online lead generators, geo farmers, circle prospectors, open house agents, billboard and large media agents. There's 8, 9, 10 different ways people do this. The problem is if you try to do something because you're told this is the only way to be successful, you have to door knock, you have to cold call. If that was me, and I've done it and I've sold houses doing it, but if I was told that's the only way to be successful, I would have been such a massive failure, and that is my method, right? Me, I was a relationship agent. I was a really good lead converter too, but most of my business came from relationships. And if you'd have taken that away from me, if I'd have been told this is the only way, you door knock, you cold call, FISBOs expires, and that's your focus. Some people are great at that, but if it's not you, recognize that early on and find what works.
Yes.
That's really good advice you just gave, and I hope you guys caught that. All right, ladies and gents, on the next, remember, ask us anything for the next month. It's always the second Tuesday of the month. June 13th will be the next one. I want to thank you, Artemisa, for taking the time today.
Thanks for the opportunity.
And hopefully you guys, learned something today you can take back to your business. With that, we'll say goodbye, everybody. Have a great week.